Hey, are you feeling any better about the case?
Nope.
We're going to find out who did this, May. I promise.
If you say so. Look, thanks for breakfast. I just want to say, I know you're trying to help, but I think you're wasting your time.
You said you used to hang out at the Hathorn house, right?
Uh-huh.
Did you ever see anything strange when you were there?
Like ghosts?
Yeah.
No, never.
Oh, okay. Do you feel ready to talk about your alibi?
I don't even have a passport. I don't go anywhere, so I wasn't in Austria, if that's what you're thinking.
And on the night of the arson, giving us your alibi would help you so much. People tell me there's a good reason to suspect you, but no one can say why.
Isn't it obvious? I've got a burn mark covering the entire side of my face and like most of my arms. It must be me.
I'm sorry that happened to you, and I'm sorry if people judge you for your burns.
I prefer it to pity.
Would you tell me what happened?
There was a fire. I was in it.
I'm not trying to pry. It's just that so far, the main cause for suspecting you of the Hathorn fire seems to be this previous one. I only want to understand.
I was 9. It was an old shed, and I wasn't supposed to play in it. It was kind of a den full of stuff, like candles. I got stuck inside. You can work out the rest.
So it was an accident. You were just a kid. Harsh to suspect you now because of something you didn't mean to happen.
Don't make me talk about it more.
Okay. Thank you for telling me, May. Talk to you later.
You're back! Great. Let me guess. More questions?
Spooky how you could tell.
Though it harm none, do as thou wilt.
Okay.
I'm saying I guess it can't do any harm.
I've been going around asking everyone in town where they were on the night of the arson.
The night of the what?
Arson? At Hathorn House?
Why, I have no idea what you're talking about. Kidding, Nancy. Don't look so serious. I was here that night, doing my thing. I think there had to have been at least 20 people who can confirm that. It really stinks that Lauren is going to lose her home.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, of course.
So, I've heard ghosts are haunting Salem.
Of course.
You believe it?
How could I not when I've seen them with my own eyes?
Really? Can you describe what you saw?
Sure. It was dark, foggy. I was walking through the cemetery. Or was it the town square? I don't remember, but I do remember a ghost. No, multiple ghosts. Spirits.
And did you ever see any ghosts near Hathorn House?
As a matter of fact, I did. I told you that a coven of witches unleashed them on the town a few years back. They will not rest until they get their vengeance. Let me guess. You can't find proof of a living soul present at the house the night it burned. Maybe the culprit wasn't among the living?
That sounds even harder to prove.
Have you seen The Restless Souls of Salem, Nancy?
I've seen something, but I'm not willing to just believe it's real. I need more.
Be careful. They'll still find you whether you believe in them or not. You might want to avoid the cemetery.
3 days ago, were you doing any witch tours?
3 days ago? No, I was not.
Okay. You remember what you were doing?
Actually, I had won a spa holiday at the Wayfarer Inn over in Marblehead. It was amazing! They used those glass cup things on my back. It was wicked crazy.
Oh. You have any receipts or...
It was all expenses paid. And I'd show you my back, but I'm a quick healer. Witch powers. It looks like it never happened. You know, I had a flyer for the spa, but I threw it away this morning. Sorry, I know I'm not being helpful.
It's okay. You are. Thanks. It's about you, Tegan, and Lauren, when you were kids.
Why are you interested in this? We grew apart. It happens.
I found an old photo from back then. It had the name Coven on it. Look. Was it the one you talk about in your show?
You found this photo at Tegan's house? I didn't peg her as sentimental.
So was it the same one?
Well, yes. Same coven. We heard about it as kids, I guess. We were all into history and witches. We still are.
And yet you've never made up.
I don't get why you care.
Can't help it. It's a mystery, even if you all tell me it isn't. See you later.
Nancy, hey, how's the investigation going?
Pretty well. You know, it would really help if I could get May to talk to me.
She hasn't given her alibi yet.
No, and everyone seems to have one, except her.
Everyone? Is it possible that it could be someone from outside of town? A visitor or something?
Absolutely. But statistically speaking, crime is rarely a random occurrence.
It's a mystery to me. You have anything you wanted to talk about?
What's the history behind the Hathorn estate?
Right. Well, Judge John Hathorn was born and raised in Salem. His father was a decorated military man who had many real estate holdings throughout New England. And when Judge Hathorn became a justice, he tried to expand those holdings. Much of the land that the Hathorn estate was built on was actually seized property from accused witches.
So awful. I think the land stealing part was even mentioned in Olivia's tour.
Didn't expect her to actually care about the history. At the time, no one made the connection, not even in court documents. But it happened.
Do you think the fire is somehow related to Salem's history with witches?
What do you mean?
Like, is it meant as a symbolic gesture? Because that's how most witches died?
That was a European thing. No, they were more civilized in the New World. We hung our witches. Short drop, so they slowly choked to death. A couple more died in custody awaiting trial, and one, an elderly man who refused to testify, was pressed to death.
Pressed?
Yeah. They put a bunch of heavy stones on top of you, over a period of days.
That's horrible.
She did not know the weight until she felt the freedom. Scarlet Letter. Also a descendant of Judge Hathorn. Except Nathaniel Hawthorne was so horrified with his family's history that he added a W to change it.
Wow. The focus on descendants isn't really something they teach you in school.
Yep. We think our world is so much more advanced now, but we have a hard time escaping our past.
Where were you on the night of the fire?
I was at my boyfriend's watching a movie. Here, this is his number. You can ask him.
Have you been dating Damien for a long time?
Yeah, a couple years, I think. I like him. I mean, I really do. He listens to me. Yeah, he's great.
Was he with you the whole night?
I mean, most of the night. I don't think he's capable of arson, if that's what you're suggesting.
You trust him?
Absolutely. 100%. Go ahead, call him. You'll see.
There was this photo tucked away in the guest room.
Now I'm really embarrassed. Such an awkward age.
Is that Olivia and Lauren in the picture with you?
Yeah, we were pretty tight back then. Had to take pictures.
I couldn't tell where it was taken. Do you remember? There were lots of books and candles.
It was probably the... I don't know. Books and candles are everywhere in Salem. It could be anywhere. It was years ago. I don't really remember.
How did Francis Tuttle come to own the property?
Ms. Tuttle bought it 30 years ago, cheap. It was falling apart. The former owners couldn't be located, so it was auctioned. She was a bit of a kooky lady living in a ruin like that, but she was kind. I mean, she took in Lauren like a daughter. That says something about someone, doesn't it?
I agree. Deirdre only mentioned it in passing, but you and Olivia used to be friends?
We were, and I guess it doesn't hurt to mention that Lauren was a part of our little group as well. But that was years ago.
So you don't get along now?
Things changed.
Did something happen?
I don't see why this is relevant. Aren't you supposed to be clearing my sister's name? She doesn't need more blame for things she didn't do.
What did she get the blame for before?
This town wants someone to blame for everything. She's different and gets singled out.
I want to know more about anyone who might have a motive for the fire. Maybe you can help if you know them, even as old friends.
I guess. Go on.
What can you tell me about Olivia?
What can I tell you about Olivia? I can tell you that I think her shtick is ridiculous. And that she's doing this town a disservice by selling this silly idea of broomsticks in this double toil and trouble version of witches. This is a place of real history, and she wants it to be a theme park.
Do you think she would have burned down the Hathorn house?
I suppose it would be good for business. People love a ruin.
Especially a haunted ruin.
She is pretty happy lighting fires. But I don't know. I only want my sister cleared.
I know. We're getting there. I can't help but think about the rumor Olivia talks about. The coven.
You shouldn't pay any attention to her stories. She just says whatever she thinks the crowd wants. Real history isn't interesting to Olivia.
So you never heard this rumor elsewhere?
I didn't say that. There are no witches in Salem. Just showy frauds and stupid kids doing stupid things. Don't trouble yourself with ancient history and rumors. There's a real kid in trouble who needs your help.
Do you remember what you were doing 3 nights ago?
3 days ago? Well, I was probably working here. Why?
You were working at the museum. Can anyone confirm that?
Well, I'm always here.
But was anyone else here?
May was home all day, laying low, and Olivia wasn't here either. I don't know where she was, to be honest. You'll have to ask her.
So no one can confirm that? And you're sure May was at home?
She's barely left the house since the incident. People here treat her like she has an infectious disease. It's awful. And I don't blame her if she wants to sit at home on her phone all day. Ugh. Her parents need to come home. Soon. So, I gotta ask. What do you get out of this?
I get a lot.
Really? You travel around, talk to all these people, deal with all their problems, put yourself in harm's way?
Not always. Alright, some of the time. I don't know. It's like there's these small obstacles that I enjoy working on, and they're interesting. But what I really love is the puzzle of humanity. What makes people tick? Why do people do what they do? It's always the hardest one to crack, because sometimes we do things that don't make sense. We're inherently irrational. Know what I mean?
You know, there's a theory about why these specific women were persecuted as witches. Some people believe that ergot, which is a fungus that grows in cereal grains, might have gotten into the food supply. It poisons anyone who eats it. Hallucinations, circulation issues, seizures. It would have made people look like they were possessed. Or made the judges think they were doing God's will. Or make the whole town go haywire.
A rational explanation for irrational behavior.
Just a theory. We'll never know. Anyway, I don't want to keep you. Thanks for stopping by.
Can you tell me about the accident May was in when she was a kid?
Why do you need to know that? How is it important?
I didn't think it was, but everyone else sees reason to believe May is the one who burned Hathorn House. So that makes it important, I know.
It started with the arson, and she has other convictions on her juvenile record as well.
What happened?
It was an old shed near our home. May was about 9 or so. She was in it one night. She shouldn't have been. Playing with candles, a lighter, I don't know. It caught fire. She was charged.
She was so young.
I feel responsible. She shouldn't even have been there, and I'm the older sister.
It's not your fault. I'm sorry to upset you. It helps me to understand.
Just don't talk to May about it, please.
Talk to you later. The carefully researched genealogy of several accused witches. Their names weren't fully cleared until 2001.
Nancy, hey, how's the investigation going?
Do you have any more information about the Salem witch trials?
Did the exhibitions manage to spark your interest?
They did. I found this display showing the ancestry of the accused, but it didn't seem fully complete. I was wondering if you had more information stored here somewhere.
Well, we do have the upper floor, which is also where I keep most of my accused witches' stuff.
Would it be okay for me to go up there? I'd really like getting a better picture of the history of Salem.
Usually we don't allow people up on the second floor. It's restricted. But maybe just this once I can make an exception. You are here to help, after all. So if you think it would benefit you, feel free to go up there.
Thank you.
I'll open the door for you. It's actually really cool. The stairs are hidden behind a bookcase. Hold on.
Someone's a busy bee. Old court protocols, ancestry records. Tegan is really digging deep into the witch trials.
Nancy, hey, how's the investigation going?
Talk to you later.